So, guys, the WNBA have been talking about their most viral moments of the years. Obviously, number five most viral moment was I don't remember this happening. The number six most viral moment was I don't remember. Sorry, Jesus, I don't remember this happening.
So the WNBA just dropped their list of the year's biggest viral moments, and honestly, something feels completely off about this whole thing. You've got analysts who literally live and breathe this league, people who watch every single game and break down every storyline, and they can't even recall half these moments actually happening. This isn't about bad memory. This is about a league frantically trying to rewrite the story of what actually made people watch this season.
But obviously, some of these moments. Let's see what some of these are like. Number nine was Candace Parker with Usher. Don't remember this happening. Number 10 was Stud Buds. To be fair, the Stud Buds at All-Star Weekend is absolutely belongs high. But I'm actually shocked that, first of all, this was higher. This was more important. But the WNBA...
Look at the actual list they put out.
Number 9 was Candace Parker hanging with Usher. Number 10 was some random Starburst All-Star Weekend clip. These are supposedly the moments that broke the internet during a season that absolutely demolished every ratings record the league has ever seen. But here's where it gets really interesting. The WNBA actually included a Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers showdown on this list. And this wasn't some heartwarming story about rising talent going head-to-head. This was straight-up basketball brutality. We're talking about that August 16th game, where the conversation should have been settled once and for all, where anyone with functioning eyes had to acknowledge what they were witnessing on that court.
When Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers matched up, this was an absolute... this was a game where if you wanted to argue that Paige Bueckers was better than Caitlin Clark, you just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly, screamed in her face, grabbed the ball, and just looked up and launched a full court pass, inch perfect, to Sophie Cunningham. She, in fairness, Paige Bueckers caught her in the air, and she went down, looking like she had hurt herself on that one.
That game right there tells the whole story. Caitlin Clark, playing on basically one good leg, completely dismantled Paige Bueckers in every single statistical category you can imagine. 13 assists in just 29 minutes on the floor, 4 steals, and every single one came from picking Paige's pocket clean. She even blocked Juju Watkins, screamed right in her face, grabbed that rebound, and fired a perfect full-court pass that hit Sophie Cunningham in absolute stride. The Fever destroyed Dallas that night, and by the time Caitlin sat down to rest, her numbers were better across the board. More points, more boards, more assists, more steals, more blocks, fewer turnovers than Paige. It wasn't even close to competitive. Yet somehow the WNBA is celebrating this like it was some epic back-and-forth battle between equals.
And stats-wise, she had 13 assists in 20-something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute... She was, as we call her at times last season, she was the garbage time demon. She was the demon of garbage time last year. When it was a blowout, Paige Bueckers started cooking. When it was game over, Paige Bueckers started cooking at the end of that game to get her 20-something points. But it was by the time Caitlin Clark had checked out of the game, Caitlin Clark had more points. I'm pretty sure it was more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and less turnovers. It was genuinely crazy. It was crazy. It was what I would say was anyone...
The context here makes this whole situation even more ridiculous. During their college years, Iowa went 3-1 against UConn when both Caitlin and Paige were suiting up. 3 wins, 1 loss. And in one of those Iowa victories, Paige wasn't even on the court. This was never some legendary back-and-forth rivalry where both players traded big wins. Caitlin controlled that matchup in college, and that dominance followed her straight into the pros. But check out what really happened in that August massacre. Paige turned into a garbage time hero. Once the game was already decided, once it was a complete blowout and Caitlin was chilling on the bench, that's when Paige finally started cooking to make her stats look decent. She ended up with over 20 points, but those were completely empty calories. The game was finished. The Fever had already won by a landslide. And this is what the WNBA decided to spotlight as one of their top viral moments of the year. Not because it showcased competitive basketball, not because it proved the league's incredible depth, but because they desperately need Paige Bueckers to be the co-face of this league alongside Caitlin, even when the actual basketball completely destroys that narrative.
I think Paige is more talented than Angel Reese. I think Angel was better. Angel has been better as a WNBA player. I think Angel as a rookie was better than Paige as a rookie. I think Angel literally dragged the Chicago Sky to multiple wins as a rookie. I think the Vegas win, she literally got 2 putbacks to win that game, even though she was terrible up to that point. The New York Liberty win, Angel willed them to the win. There were a couple of games where Angel Reese, even last season, willed the Sky to wins. Paige did not will. Did not. She willed them into close games. She didn't will them to a win. Angel Reese.
The real tension brewing here isn't even Caitlin versus Paige anymore. The genuine rivalry, the one with actual bad blood simmering underneath everything, is Paige versus Angel Reese. And here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Angel Reese had a significantly better rookie season than Paige Bueckers. Angel literally carried the Chicago Sky to multiple victories through pure determination and willpower. That Vegas game where she grabbed 2 crucial putback rebounds in the final minute to seal the win even though she'd been struggling to find her rhythm all night long. That massive upset against the New York Liberty where Angel absolutely refused to let her team lose to the eventual champion. Paige Bueckers, despite all her talent and her massive social media army, hasn't reached that level yet. She makes her team competitive, she keeps games interesting, but she hasn't dragged the Dallas Wings to victories the way Angel dragged Chicago to wins as a first-year player.
What you want about Angel? Like, she was exceptional. Even on one leg, Fever dog walked better than the Wings. Certainly a memorable game. Coming in at number 7, it was a lot higher. To be fair, if it was number 7, show the highlights. Paige is so much better based on what? If you were talking about this game, I just remember like how the game was summarized in one photo. Yeah. How the game summarized in one photo. That was basically it. The rivalry the league wants. They have grown, bless their hearts. Aaliyah Boston, 80 foot. 4 steals and 13 assists on one leg. Like, she stripped Paige 4 times. And that was the funniest thing is everyone's talking about turnovers. I'm like, oh, Paige had more turnovers than Caitlin in that game. Because Paige actually played point guard in that game. The game the Wings beat the Fever, if I'm not mistaken, it was when Grace Berger played, I think. And the Wings nearly blew like a 17-point lead in the last couple of minutes of the game. That was hilarious. But
this single photograph captures everything you need to understand. Caitlin Clark on one injured leg, ankle wrapped up in tape, stealing the ball from Paige for the 4th time that game. Look at Paige's face in that moment, that realization hitting her that she's getting completely outplayed by someone who can barely even run properly. The game was never in doubt. Dallas nearly choked away a 20-point lead in garbage time, which made the final score look closer than the actual game ever was. But when both superstars were on the court together, it was a complete clinic. 13 assists, 4 steals, total control of every possession. Caitlin was coasting, not even hunting for her own shots, just running the offense like a conductor and making everyone around her look like all-stars. And the WNBA posted this as a viral moment. They actually highlighted the game where their hand-picked successor got absolutely demolished by an injured Caitlin Clark. That's not building up a rivalry between equals. That's documenting a clear hierarchy.
Thinking I have a chip, but Caitlin's 20 times better than me, face the league. I don't think Paige Bueckers thinks that. And by the way, one thing I like is that you're starting to see Paige become Paige again, by the way. Like, if you saw this, for lack of a better word, like the swag and freedom that Paige played with in high school, and then that was kind of gone out of her at UConn. And like, I think we're seeing a little bit more Paige. We're seeing a little bit more her being Paige. And if Paige is Paige, and Paige fixes the mentality issues that she's had over the last 2 years, I don't mean these in mentality issues. Mentality issues is in like the mentality of, oh, I'm just going to, I just want to fit in and not, I'm the fucking team. Like, you fit in off the floor, but on the floor, I'm this fucking team. Give me the fucking ball. I will get you free. I will find you, make my life easier, and I'll make your life easier. And not, oh, Grace Berger shooting 18% from three. I'm open, but let me give the ball to Grace Berger instead. Like, that type of shit. That type of shit. Like, it was why we all got so angry the few times Caitlin passed the ball to Christy Wallace. Like, no. And if she stopped passing the ball to Christy.
Here's what makes this complicated, though, because something interesting is happening with Paige Bueckers that deserves recognition. You're starting to see her rediscover who she really is as a player. That confidence and swagger she played with back in high school, the aggressiveness that UConn's system completely coached out of her, is slowly starting to return. At UConn, Paige played like she was terrified of taking over games, like she cared more about fitting into Gino Auriemma's system than being the most dominant player on the floor. There were games where she was wide open, shooting 43% from beyond the arc, and she'd pass to a teammate shooting 18% because that was the quote-unquote right basketball play, according to the system. That team-first mentality followed her straight into the WNBA Open. Boal is shooting 18% from three, but Paige is open and still passes it to her because she's trying to keep everyone happy and involved. That's not how superstars think at all. Caitlin Clark doesn't pass to Christy Wallace in crunch time. She finds Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, the players who can actually convert when the game is on the line. If Paige can completely fix that mentality, if she can reclaim that give me the ball and get out of my way mindset, she's going to be something truly special. But right now she's not there yet, and the WNBA pretending she's already reached that level doesn't help anybody.
Going to post highlights, Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. There's going to be a lot more matchups. And by the way, Paige is going to get the better of Caitlin Clark plenty of times. Plenty of times in her career. Like, heck, Angel got the better of Caitlin Clark once. Ryan Howard's gotten better of Caitlin Clark. Heck, fucking Kate Martin's gotten the better of Caitlin Clark a couple of times. And it's not even funny. I don't actually know if Caitlin Clark has ever actually gotten the better of Kate Martin as a pro. So it's going to happen. But I'm still shocked. I'm actually considering what the WNBA have been doing, considering their mentality towards Caitlin Clark as a league, and they're really wanting to push Paige Bueckers in the face, even though Paige Bueckers, nobody watches Paige Bueckers play basketball. And that's just the unfortunate thing, is that, in fairness to Paige Bueckers is an unbelievable social media following. She actually does. She's an unbelievable social media following. The TikTok people love making their edits of Paige Bueckers because they have these weird parasocial relationships with her and AZ Fudd. They're like K-pop stans, but they don't act.
This is exactly what's wrong with the WNBA's viral moments approach. They're not actually tracking what broke through to mainstream attention. They're tracking what the league wishes had broken through. You want to know what actually went viral this season? Caitlin Clark's logo, threes, from 30 feet out. Angel Reese's historic double-double streak. The physical play and all the technical fouls that followed, sparking endless debates about how rookies were being targeted. Chennedy Carter's hip check heard around the world. The legendary, "You are the Indiana Fever" speech. These were the moments that forced their way into mainstream sports coverage, that got argued about on First Take and Undisputed, that drove millions of viewers to actually tune in and watch games. But the WNBA refuses to acknowledge that controversy and drama drive real engagement. They want to pretend that wholesome moments, like Candace Parker taking photos with Usher at a game, are what's actually moving the needle and growing their audience. They want to push Paige Bueckers as the co-face of the league, even though her massive TikTok following doesn't translate into people actually watching her play basketball. The social media crowd loves making highlight edits of Paige and UConn players. They have these weird parasocial relationships with college basketball stars, but they don't watch the actual games when it matters. The TV ratings prove this beyond any doubt. Dallas Wings games weren't must-see television this season. Indiana Fever games absolutely were. So what does this viral moments list actually reveal about the WNBA's real priorities? Because it's way more telling than any official press release or public statement they could make. First, there's the whole Kelsey Plum situation. The only moment involving Kelsey that actually went viral this season was when she hit that too small gesture on Dejanai Carrington after draining a clutch shot, and when the Connecticut Sun posted about her and Cameron Brink showing up to practice in matching designer outfits. Those were the moments that actually circulated on social media, generated real engagement, and got people talking. But apparently those didn't make the official list, or they were ranked so low that even analysts covering the league every single day don't remember seeing them highlighted. That tells you everything about how the WNBA is curating one specific narrative instead of tracking actual measurable virality through shares, comments, video views, and media coverage. They're hand-selecting moments that fit the exact story they want to tell about their league. Second, there's the complete absence of any real controversy or drama. This was a season completely defined by debates about physical play, discussions about how rookies were being treated, the Chennedy Carter incident that dominated sports media for an entire week straight. Those were the moments that forced casual fans to tune in, that started arguments in every sports bar across America, that pushed WNBA content into mainstream consciousness for the first time. But you'll never find those moments on the official viral list because the WNBA desperately wants to be seen as wholesome and family-friendly, as the league where everyone respects each other and plays beautiful fundamental basketball. They're absolutely terrified of embracing the edge, the controversy, the genuine human drama that makes sports truly compelling and appointment viewing. Third, and this is probably the most damaging part, they're actively trying to manufacture a rivalry that simply doesn't exist in reality. Caitlin versus Paige was supposed to be the WNBA's Magic versus Bird, the transcendent rivalry that would define an entire generation and drive ratings for years to come. The problem is that it's completely one-sided and always has been. Iowa beat UConn 3 out of 4 times in college. Caitlin dominated Paige in their first WNBA head-to-head matchup while playing on one injured leg. The statistical comparisons aren't remotely close. The impact on actually winning games isn't close. The ability to take over and will your team to victory isn't close. This isn't a rivalry between equals, it's a clear hierarchy with defined levels. But the WNBA desperately needs Paige to be at Caitlin's level for their marketing narrative to actually work. They need multiple faces of the league, multiple superstars to build different franchises around, multiple personalities to drive engagement in different market segments. So they're gonna keep pushing this rivalry angle, even though the basketball reality doesn't support it at all. That's exactly why including that August 16th massacre on the viral moments list is so incredibly revealing. They're not celebrating great competitive basketball or amazing individual performances. They're celebrating the simple fact that these two specific players happen to be on the court at the same time, completely regardless of what actually happened during those 40 minutes of game time. This is particularly frustrating for fans who actually invest time in watching these games live. We're not stupid, and we can easily see the difference between a genuine competitive rivalry and a completely manufactured media creation. We all watched that August game unfold in real time. We saw Caitlin strip Paige 4 separate times. We watched her orchestrate the entire offense with 13 assists in limited minutes. We saw her completely control the pace and rhythm of the game while clearly not at full physical health. That's not a rivalry showcase moment. That's one superstar making a definitive statement. That's one player establishing beyond any reasonable doubt that there are distinct levels to professional basketball, and right now, they're operating on completely different levels. The WNBA, including that particular game on their viral moments list, is like if the NBA back in 1992 had highlighted a game where Magic Johnson dropped 40 points on an injured Larry Bird and called it a rivalry moment. No, that's one all-time great, absolutely destroying another all-time great, who's clearly compromised. It's not competitive, it's not compelling as a rivalry, and pretending otherwise insults everyone's intelligence. Now, does Paige Bueckers have the raw talent to eventually reach Caitlin's level? Potentially. She's got legitimate skills, incredible physical tools, and as we've discussed, she's starting to rediscover that aggressive killer mentality that made her absolutely special back in high school. If she can fully reclaim that swagger, if she can develop that clutch gene where she demands the ball in crunch time and completely takes over games, she could definitely become a perennial all-star and one of the league's premier players for years to come. But she's not there yet, and the WNBA acting like she's already reached that level, like this is already a rivalry between equals, doesn't actually help Paige develop into that elite player. It creates unrealistic expectations and sets her up for unfair criticism when she doesn't immediately meet them. The same exact thing happened with Angel Reese to a certain degree. The WNBA wanted the Caitlin versus Angel rivalry to be the main centerpiece of the entire season. This intense back-and-forth battle that would drive ratings and social media and engagement, and there were definitely moments where Angel absolutely delivered on that promise. Her double-double streak was completely legitimate and historic. Her rebounding dominance was incredible. She had multiple games where she was clearly the best player on the floor and single-handedly dragged her team to crucial victory. But the rivalry narrative required Angel to consistently perform at Caitlyn's level throughout the season. And that's simply not what happened when you look at the complete body of work. Caitlyn won Rookie of the Year unanimously without a single dissenting vote. She broke the single-season assist record. She led the Fever to the playoffs after they'd won only 13 total games the previous 2 seasons combined. The gap in overall impact and team success was pretty significant. That doesn't make Angel a bad player or a disappointment. It makes her a very good rookie who had an excellent first season but wasn't quite at the level of a once-in-a-generation talent. There's absolutely no shame in that reality, but the WNBA's insistence on forcing these rivalry narratives means they can't just celebrate Angel for what she actually accomplished on her own merit. They have to pretend she's Caitlyn's statistical equal, which creates comparisons that don't necessarily favor her. This is the fundamental core problem with this viral moments list approach. It's not genuinely about celebrating what actually happened during this breakthrough season. It's about constructing a specific narrative that serves the league's marketing interests and future business plans, even when that narrative directly contradicts what fans actually watched with their own eyes and what actually drove measurable engagement across all platforms. You want to know what the real, most viral moments of this season actually were? Let's go through them with complete honesty. Number 1, without any question, was Caitlin Clark's professional debut. The massive hype, the sky-high expectations, the immediate impact on ratings and attendance, that was the single moment when casual sports fans who had never watched a WNBA game in their lives suddenly tuned in to see if this college sensation could actually translate her success to the professional level. Number 2 was absolutely the Chennedy Carter hip check and all the subsequent discourse about physical play and rookie treatment. That incident completely dominated sports media for an entire week, got debated on every major sports talk show, and drove massive viewership to the next Fever game because everyone wanted to see how Caitlyn would respond to the physicality. Number 3 was Angel Reese's incredible double-double streak. That was a completely legitimate achievement that earned mainstream media coverage and showcased her elite rebounding ability and motor. It was compelling television, it was genuinely historic, and it didn't require manufacturing any fake rivalry to make it interesting content. Number 4 was Caitlyn breaking the single-season assist record. That milestone happened during the playoffs on national television, and it cemented her status as not just an elite scorer, but a complete floor general who makes every single player around her significantly better. Number 5 was the entire playoff race itself, watching the Fever transform from lottery team to playoff contender in just one season. While the Sky, despite Angel's individual excellence, fell just short of the postseason. That narrative of one rookie leading her franchise to the playoffs while another couldn't quite get her team across the finish line was naturally compelling without needing any artificial manufacture. Those were the actual viral moments that defined this season. Those were the storylines that broke through to mainstream consciousness, got people who never watched the WNBA to suddenly tune in and pay attention. But you'll never see that honest list from the league office, because it's way too real and unfiltered. It acknowledges that controversy and drama drive genuine engagement. It admits that one player had a significantly bigger impact than others. It recognizes that manufactured rivalries completely fall apart when the actual basketball contradicts the marketing narrative. The WNBA is standing at a crucial crossroads right now. They've earned unprecedented mainstream attention, record-breaking viewership numbers, and genuine interest from casual sports fans for the first time in the league's entire history. They can either embrace what's actually working, what's genuinely driving all that engagement and growth, or they can keep trying to force narratives that don't match the reality everyone watched. If they choose the second option, if they keep publishing viral moments lists that don't reflect what actually went viral, if they keep pushing rivalries that aren't genuinely competitive, they're going to lose the audience they've worked incredibly hard to build over decades. Because sports fans aren't stupid or easily fooled. We absolutely know when someone is trying to sell us a story that doesn't match what we watched with our own eyes night after night. So here's what I really want to know, and I'm genuinely curious about your perspective on this. Is the WNBA's insistence on these manufactured narratives actually helping or hurting the league's long-term growth? Are they building sustainable storylines that will keep fans engaged for years to come, or are they setting themselves up for a major backlash when reality keeps contradicting their carefully crafted marketing campaigns? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button if you want more deep dives into what's really happening behind the scenes.